What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thanks for joining once again. My question right now is, what more needs to happen before we openly, honestly talk about a peaceful divorce? School board group, this is the NSBA, the National School Board Association, asks Joe Biden to use the Patriot Act against parents over opposition to mandates and critical race theory. I thought the headline had to be sensationalized. So I looked at it and I actually pulled up the letter. So the NSBA, the National School Boards Association, wrote a letter and it's titled Federal Assistance to Stop Threats and Acts of Violence Against Public School Children, Public School Board members, and other public school district officials and educators. For a national group like this to go straight to the big guy is, whoa. They are over the school boards in all these different states. Are they not going to the governor first, at least? There's something very, very odd going on here. Here's what they're asking for. It's actually worse, like way worse than the Fox News headline. The NSBA respectfully asks that a joint collaboration among federal law enforcement agencies, state and local law enforcement, and with public school officials be undertaken to focus on these threats. The NSBA specifically solicits the expertise and resources of the U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Secret Service, and its National Threat Assessment Center regarding the level of risk to public school children, educators, board members, and faculties, campuses. We also request the assistance of the U.S. Postal Inspection Service to intervene against threatening letters and cyberbullying. Cyberbullying? What? Is that even in the jurisdiction? Or what is that? Cyberbullying attacks that have been transmitted to students, school board members, district administrators, and other educators. They listed every alphabet agency out there pretty much, almost. Luckily, the curriculum that my kid is at, he just started kindergarten, I think it looks fine. The mask situation is a problem for me. I'm giving that until spring. But I'm not having as big of issues, I think, as a lot of these other areas. But I am with people who are peaceful and they are within the rules, obeying, they're complying within the rules to give the feedback. But this is not the time for us to lose our cool. This is not the time for even a hint, not even a hint. I don't even want a whisper of the thought of violence. If you want to do that, please stay away from me. That is the language of someone who is depraved and so out of whack they don't know what to do. You are a liability. I want you nowhere near me. That is not how this is. We're not getting out of this. They wrote a letter directly to the big guy, to the president. Can you do that? What organization do you roll with that can write a letter direct to the big guy? It's time. Now's not the time for emotions to rule us. We need cool, calm, well thought out people. Matt Walsh has gone, he spoke at Loudon recently, and I know he's doing it for show, he's doing it for pub, but he's well thought out. He's smart about what he does. I can associate myself with someone who's smart. Things have to get more buttoned up, more sophisticated. On Thursday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said responsibility for protecting school boards falls largely to local law enforcement, of course. But we're continuing to explore if more can be done from across the administration. She didn't close the book on it. They complained in this letter about misinformation online. But here's what it sounds like when these same people are confronted with real information, real facts in real time at a real school board meeting.
After seeing a September 9th school board meeting in Texas on schools, I decided to check the titles at my child's school, Fairfax High School. The books were available, and we checked them out. What if I told you I touched another guy's dick? What if I told you I it? I was 10 years old, but it's true. I Doug Goebel's dick.
Yes, material. There are children in the audience here.
Do not interrupt my time.
You see how they're playing games? They're the radicals, not you, not me. That's why we have to separate. This is the same as Black Lives Matter. You cannot have not even one person associated with this doing any kinds of illegal activities. That is crazy. You're getting everybody clamped down, and you're not helping. And you see, that's not a genuine response. And I am not going to question the threats because I think that's very serious. But what I'm going to say is I don't trust the school board. If a mom gets up in front of a school board and reads that book and it's so salacious and you don't want to hear it anymore, the point of her reading that is because of the content. That's the whole point. So if the school board's answer to that is anything other than we are going to double check to make sure that that is not in the library. If it is in the library, we're getting it out. If their response is anything other than that, it's disingenuous, just like you saw there, and it's on bad faith. So the school board there, that person, the school board that responded with that, saying, oh, there's children here, you have to stop reading. They didn't want to talk about the issue, and that's what this letter to the president is. We would rather talk about, assume that they're real, these threats, than the substance of what's happening. They are the radical ones. If their first reaction is to go after the mom for reading the book, then instead of looking into it to see if it really is that way, they are radicals, you are not. But those people who are outside of this, I'm going to end with this. I don't have all the answers. I don't have a lot of answers. I'm just letting thoughts out there. I need help. Do you agree that the violent somehow has to be denounced, separated from what the courageous work that's happening? They're using that to taint it. How does that happen? I don't know. I'm not an organizer. I'm not an activist. This is new, and we're going to have to learn quickly. But we're operating under the shield of this establishment. So do you agree that violence has to be denounced or separated from? How do we do it? From Black Lives Matter, I said you can't do protests at night. That's number one. Under the cover of darkness, more stuff can happen. No, if Black Lives Matter hypothetically was a real organization, I would say no protests at night. That's the first thing I would say. That it won't fix everything, but it will help. What is the equivalent to that here? Maybe you don't have so many people show up because now it's being used against you. They're basically calling you a domestic terrorist. There was a line in this letter, and I'll post it in here, where they basically said this is like domestic terrorism. They're calling you a domestic terrorist because of the few people are out of line. And when Black Lives Matter was literally burning down the city, Antifa or people who are fringe in those groups doing that, there was no governor calling in the National Guard. There's nobody calling for the president or the governor to bring in the National Guard. But they've got every alphabet agency under the sun listed here. Domestic terrorism listed here. They didn't call Antifa that. They still don't to this day. How would we go around doing that? Do you bring in a local congressperson? Jon Stewart brought in congress people when he fought politically for relief for first responders to 9/11 and their families. I'm serious, y'all. I need help. Let me know. Thanks a lot for listening. Take care.